excited for this conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Um, I would love it if first you would share, yeah, what your business is and the work that you do.
Okay, so I'm an acupuncturist and a face reader and an intuitive, which thanks to SB, I'm owning all of the titles. And
The face reader is the
it was the hardest part. But that is what informs my practice. And I help people see with fresh eyes so they can discern their own path to health and well-being, whatever that looks like, because everybody has their own path. So it's really not that I'm doing anything. I'm just helping you do you, boo.
Yeah, I love that. I keep seeing this quote actually, we're all ultimately just walking each other home, and it's just so true, isn't it?
Yeah. This is, I mean, really, and you have said this in some of your videos that we need to hear it in all the different ways because there's one way that's going to resonate with us. And even though it's the same message, and maybe your mom said it, maybe a friend said it, but there's going to be one person that says it so you can hear it. And then I thought, oh, there's people that want to hear it the way I say it. And it totally empowered the whole process.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I want to hear a little bit about where you were in your business because we were literally just talking about before I hit record how you were you're in your business and you were on Instagram and you were creating this amazing reel and you were like posting on social media is how I'm going to get clients and it's how I'm going to build my business. And then you saw something from me that was like, don't post on social media, stop wasting your time there. And you just signed up and you didn't know what you were getting into. And you said now things look and feel completely different. So I would just love to hear a little bit of your story. Like, where were you when you found us and you came into SBA? And then what shifted for you during your time with us? And how are things different now?
Oh my gosh, everything shifted. I had finished acupuncture school, was told after you finish school that 2 out of 3 acupuncturists won't even make it, that they're not in 3 years, they're not going to be practicing. That if I had 10 patients a week in my first year, that was amazing. And that sounded like sucked. I mean, I'm $70,000 in. And then I had done a lot of extra work. So I was used to seeing people. I had mentored and worked for other acupuncturists that had really successful practices. So my expectations were a little bit, well, they were there. I'm not even going to say they're unreasonable now, thanks to what I learned with SBA. But I thought that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do this for the next 5 years before I can make a living. And then somebody said Instagram, and as we had talked about, that was sucking my soul.
The worst.
This was the worst. I mean, it was good to do like the skill. Like I learned the skill of putting things on there, but it was reaching no one. And
Right.
I didn't want to spend my time doing that. I wanted to spend my time with patients. And I had this other thing going on, this thing where I call them hits. Some people call them intuitions, whatever it was. I was getting information. I didn't know where it was coming from. It was freaking me out, but it was totally informing my practice. And instead of being like, this is awesome, what a superpower, I was just tripping like, if anybody finds out, they're going to think I'm cuckoo. And then I joined SBA totally serendipitously, having no idea that you guys totally work with healers and spiritualists and all the others. And then, that feeling, and you're like, oh, you're like me. I have people like me here that are doing what I'm trying to do. And I think it was Mandy. It might have been Amy and Mandy, because I think I had to have it repeated to me a few times, that said, you can own this. You're a face reader that's totally legit. Oh, well, that's a game changer. Because now I'm not just an acupuncturist that is trying to like make my way as an acupuncturist. I'm an acupuncturist that has this other thing that defines my practice, and to own that. And then SBA became, I had no idea this was going to be the process. I had all my walls up against business and money. And I was like, I know I got to learn to receive or something like that. But seeing all of the women in SBA in action receiving gracefully, oh, that's what it looks like. Like, sorry, I get emotional on this part because you have to know what it looks like. You otherwise, how do you find it? So that was a huge thing. Owning what I do was a huge thing. Being around women that I so respected that were doing similar things. It became a journey. Like, I know it's soul business alignment, but really the business part was not the thing. The business is what happened when I could do me.
Oh my gosh, I just got chills.
And that was the big takeaway. Like, oh my gosh, I've done all this work, this internal work. This was a missing piece. So now I'm like, I don't have Instagram. Like, it's there, but I don't post. I just stalk other people on it, like proper. And business picked up, and literally in the first month of going through the modules, I didn't change anything except, and this. So then business started picking up, and then the face readings, first it was $100. I spent like 3 hours reading somebody's entire book for $100. And then there's like, ooh, I'll charge 250. Like, this was a big deal, right? And it was still hours of, reading the book. And then now I'm like, okay, it's 45 minutes and we're going to focus on a chapter.
Yes, definitely. That's huge shift.
And I'm not going to want to crawl into bed for 2 days afterwards. And I'm going to be paid in a way that makes it really fun, because that was part of the exchange that I learned with SBA, that it can be fun. Like, what? Okay. And that I don't have to add anything. Like, what I come to the table with is what people want. You know how life-changing that is on all levels? It's not just business.
Yeah. It's so true. It's like the more that we can be us and the more you that you can be and just bring your heart into your business, the more, your people are going to find you and the more they're going to be drawn to your medicine. And I think we think that we have to do things in a way that feel formal or official or the way that we should be doing things, when in actuality, it's just really embodying us and our gifts, and our medicine. That is what the world needs so much.
Yeah. And your program gets you there. It does.
Aw, thank you. What do you think was like a big shift for you, or a big insight for you, was that you didn't really know before joining SBA?
I mean, besides everything, because newbie, like, I had been a failed farmer for 20 years. 20 years I was working the land and making pennies, literally pennies. And I just thought that that's how it goes if you're doing something, in Hawaii, we say pono, like, that's good. And I had like really negative associations with wealth. And I was like, we're wealthy. We don't have money, but we're wealthy. And we do. We eat really well. I mean, if I turn the camera around, I'm looking at paradise outside. So I had my bubble. The idea that money was a tool that took on whatever resonance I gave it was mind-blowing. That there were all these other healers, that there were all these other spiritual people, and they could still be financially successful and not compromise being good people. I needed that kick. I needed that. So that was probably the biggest shift. But all these little shifts go with that. Like owning, like the idea that it's not even what I do that's so important. It's that I do it in my own voice, that I do it without censoring what my take on it is, because that's good medicine for somebody else. That was huge too, because I thought I had to polish it or present it in a certain way, or it wasn't legit. Yeah, all that's gone now.
Yay. Oh, that's so good. And it makes it it takes a lot of the pressure and the stress off too, doesn't it?
I think all the stress was self-created.
Mhm.
I mean, there's stress with things like, okay, well, this copy doesn't sound exactly the way I want it to sound on my website. Or I was doing this huge event thing, a little overwhelming, which was also a process I learned because I was biting off this huge chunk thinking this is what we're supposed to do. And I got to walk it with the coaches holding my hand. And when it became clear that that wasn't the thing to do, they helped validate it. And it was still a gain. It was still a win because I went through that whole process of it.
Okay.
Um, and it's a thing I never thought I needed because I'm a really good self-study. And I don't do all the, like, I'm not on Facebook as much as I should be. I'm not super into the community part. However, 2 or 3 good sisters can make a huge difference. And
So true.
SBA gave me that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. So if
Girl, it's you.
someone
You
is
created
watching
it.
this,
You should love it because you created it.
I know. Well, I feel like maybe a lot of women in our space do, where I just feel like a vessel, like I really just feel like what comes through me, and I'm just here to bring it to life. I don't feel, I look back at SBA and I'm like, sometimes it's hard for me to even realize what I have created because I just think it comes through me. Does that make sense?
Well, it's even more than it makes sense. It's like that's the key is
Yeah.
that you created the vessel. Yeah. So things could flow. Holding space is not easy. Holding
Yeah.
space is its own thing. Yeah. And so how do people feel? And this was actually, I don't know, maybe I saw it on Instagram, but it was a quote about it's not necessarily the thing that you do, like the event. It's how you make people feel, including yourself, when you do it. And that is the holding of the space. I have a Hawaiian Kumu teacher. She teaches, it's like life works, how to do this thing. And she takes us on these journeys where we go off into, an area that's like not really accessible. And we do our whole journey together and we got to bring our own food and pack out everything. And she holds space. The whole thing happens because her job is to hold space. So I think that's special if you
Yeah.
can hold that, and you're holding it for a lot. So if that's you doing you, which, I do the face reading thing and I'm like, oh, she's a good friend. Like, you're a good friend. You're a super loyal friend. You're harder on yourself than other people, but you like give a lot of your energy and your time and you're a great cheerleader. That takes a lot and you hold
Yeah.
it for this entire group. It's pretty crazy.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for seeing that too. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
That's what I do.
That's
Look
what you
at your
do.
face.
I've heard, well, yes. So we need to talk about that. Yes. I want to hear where people can find you, because during your time inside the program, the coaches loved you. They were like, oh my gosh, what she does is so amazing. So I think I want to have you share your work and where anyone who's watching this can come and find you. But real quick before we jump into that, if someone was watching this and they're on the fence trying to decide, is SBA right for me or should I jump in? What would be some advice that you would give them?
To ask themselves if they really want to know, because once you know, you can't unknow, right? So do you really want to know yourself on this level? That's the first one. Because, I'm not even saying it lightly. If you know something that you're not ready for, no, you can't go backwards. So if you're not ready to bust open your business and take this on and like do it big, because it's going to get big fast. Like, I had to take a break from the modules just to catch up with all the business now. If you're not ready for that, yeah, maybe you want to hang back.
Maybe just take a minute. I love that. It's so true. Well, I think you tell the universe too, I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for bigger. I'm ready to show up in a bigger way. And by making an investment and a commitment to yourself and your business, all of a sudden the door, like you even mentioned, I just opened the modules and business started coming in. I didn't even change anything. It's because energetically you did. And we see that a lot. it happens because I mean, the universe just starts to back you. God, source, divine, whatever it is that you want to call it, just shows up and is like on board.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's maybe the biggest part is
Yeah.
be ready to hold on to the seat of your pants. And then the other big thing is just that go in, and I say that this is like life, right? But go in with fresh eyes, because what you thought business was supposed to be, if you're needing the program,
Mm,
maybe you just need to change how you think about business, and this
I
program
love
will get you
that. Mhm.
there. I had
So
super
true.
resistance. I was like, I just want to be my little witchy self in the garden, and people will come down my driveway and and yeah, but you have to set the container for that. So now I can be my witchy self, but I have a website almost done. So that's where people will find me. Right now it's just my email, but I didn't want to build a website. And then I built the website. I forced myself, and then I hated it because I was
Yeah.
making a website for what I thought people wanted to see.
Yes. Totally. Which is not gonna work because we know why now. So yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for the
if
program.
you
Yeah.
yes. If you could share your email address, that would be great. Because I mean, face readings are amazing. It's fascinating. Your work is incredible, and I'd love anyone who wants to come and look you up to be able to find you. So what is your email address?
So the email is my last name, Kauhane, Kauhane, at Kauhane Healing Arts. And that's the website too, kauhanehealingarts.com. Right now there's a construction site when you go to the page, but it's changing because I don't have to do it all myself either. You can hire people to help you with those parts. What? Yeah, thanks SBA. So I have my web guy now doing all the parts that I can't stand. And plus I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't see. So I'm like,
Yeah. Delegate. Delegate, delegate, delegate.
yes.
Amazing. Well, I am so grateful for you and for your medicine and for the work that you're putting out into the world. And just thank you for being here and having this conversation and showing that we can do business different.
Oh, thanks, Erica. Thanks for doing you, girl.
Thank you.